McCarlan's through, he might go for it, still going, trying to barge his way through, goes to the spot, what a goal!
Arriving, Rian O'Neill from an almost impossible angle, and that's the rousing score now we're looking for.
Conor Turbitt kicks this one in on it, absolutely superb.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Sideline Eye podcast. You're very welcome to our club roundup show, and we're looking back at the second round of the championship. A bit of a different format from last week's show this week. Instead of going through group by group, we're going to just go through day by day. So we're going to start with the games on Friday night into Saturday, and part 3 finally will be the Sunday games, of course. So as usual, we're going to start with the Friday night, and we're going to start with the Senior Championship with highlights in part 1 here from Ballymacnab and the Harps, and also from Shane O'Neill's and Whitecross. So we'll start with Ballymacnab and the Harps. These two sides met in the only Senior Championship game of Friday night, and the Harps picked up a second successive victory in Group D as they saw off Ballymacnab. 8 points was the difference in the end, with Pascal Canavan's side proving too strong in the end for the NAB. Having collected an impressive 13-point win in round 1 over Mullabon, the Harps backed it up with a fine performance. It was a top-of-the-table clash, of course, as the NAB were also successful on the opening day as they beat Drummondtee by the minimum of margins. Just 1 point separated the sides at half-time, but a second-half surge saw the Harps pull away. The visiting side held their host to just 2 points in the second half, while they recorded 0-9 of their own. Cian Hughes got Ballymacnab up and running with an early score, which was matched at the other end by his namesake Oisín Hughes. That kick-started a scoring spree for the Harps, with Tag Grimley hitting 2 and James McCoy also raising a white flag. Ryan Waters traded scores with Oisín McGurgan, while Cian Hughes grabbed his second with a converted free. Midfielders Finian Maguire and Joe McElroy exchanged pointed efforts, while Kieran Connolly's score left it 0-6 to 0-5 at the half-time break. McGurgan and McElroy widened the gap at the start of the second half for the Harps, while Aidan Toner cut the deficit for the NAB. Ryan McShane, a second-half substitute, added a score, as did James McCoy and Oisín Hughes. McCoy and McElroy both split the post to make it a 7-point game, while Cian Hughes kept the NAB in touch with another score. The Harps grabbed the final 2 points of the night through a Conor Murphy free and a third from Oisín Hughes to make it an 8-point winning margin. In Group D, the Drummondtee and Mullabon game, which was due to take place on Friday evening, was postponed as there was a death in the Drummondtee club, so that's been rescheduled for Monday evening with a throw-in time of 6:45, and Drummondtee will have home advantage. Both sides are looking to bounce back after they lost their opening round games. So moving on to the Intermediate Championship then, on Friday night's game, Whitecross pulled off a sensational second half comeback against Shane O'Neill's to win by the minimum of margins. Shane O'Neill's led by 7 points at the break, but Whitecross came steaming back into the game to win by 1. Having lost to St Paul's in the opening round, Whitecross faced an uphill task heading to Camla, but they produced an incredible second half display to secure their first victory of the campaign. A stunning first half volleyed goal from Rory O'Brien gave the Shanes a comfortable 1-6 to 0-2 lead at half time. Whitecross battled back after the turnaround, and Cathal McSherry rattled the net, catching everyone off guard as he fired home from a mark. 2 second half red cards didn't help Shane O'Neill's case, but the sides traded scores late on. Oisín Cunningham was the hero in the end for Whitecross, as the substitute stepped up to kick the winning score in the dying couple of minutes. Also in that same Group A, on Friday night, Tiernan and St Paul's clashed in Tiernan, and 3 first half goals paved the way for a round 2 victory for St Paul's as they travelled to Portadown on Friday night. There is 4 green flags in total, with 4 different goal scorers on the night. Shea Conway, Niall McCory, Ryan Lawless and Andrew Mernon all raised green flags for the visiting side. All-Ireland champion Andrew Mernon was the top scorer on the night as he finished with 1-4. His Archer County teammate Oisín Connerty raised the most white flags for Tiernan as he finished with a personal tally of 0-4. Jamie McAleenan hit 0-3 for Tiernan as well, and they had 10 different scores on the night. St Paul's have home advantage next week as they take on Shane O'Neill's in a repeat of the 2022 Intermediate Championship final, while Whitecross will welcome Tiernan to South Armagh next Friday evening. On Friday's Junior Championship results then, St Michael's qualified for the quarterfinals of the Junior Championship with a fantastic win over Middletown. The Newtown men were underdogs and they were 4 points down early on, but turned things around after the first quarter. An early goal from Paddy McBride had the home side ahead 1-3-2 after 15 minutes of action. Newtown narrowed the gap to just 1 by the interval with the half-time score reading 1-3-5 in favour of Middletown. St Michael's rattled off the first 4 points of the second period to go in front, and they stayed there for the rest of the game. Aidan Davidson was the main man up front for Newtown, and he finished with 0-5 on the night. Clevie Seconds earned a 3-point win away to Dorsey on Friday to book their spot in the playoff places. The result sees Dorsey crash out of the championship as they finish at the bottom of Group A. A fortuitous first half goal saw Clevie Seconds ahead by 4 when the short whistle sounded. A long ball in by Keelan McDonald ended up in the net, seeing his side ahead 1-8-7 at half time. Top scorer on the night was Aidan Mackin with 1-5, and he hit the net as well as Peter McGowan for Dorsey in the second half. Clevie Seconds added a second major of their own through Finlay Brady to win by 3 in the end. So from Group B in the Junior Championship, it's St Michael's who advanced to the last 8, while Middletown and Clevie finish second and third, and they make their way to the playoffs. So that's all of Friday night's action. We'll be back soon with part 2, and we'll look at all of Saturday's games. On to Saturday's action now, and Clevie produced the goods against Cullaville to bounce back from last week's first round defeat against Cullyhanna. 3 first half goals were key for the home side under new manager Stephen McDonnell. Cullaville hit 2 goals of their own in the second period, but it wasn't enough to get something from the game. Both sides received red cards after the turnaround as well, with Gavin McVary and Lee Rice seeing red. Defenders Fergal Kieran and Cahir McKinney swapped scores before Michael McNamee put Clevie ahead early on in the game. Aaron McGuinness added another before Niall McGuinness flicked home the game's first goal. Fergal Kieran and Micheál McNamee traded dead ball efforts before McGuinness grabbed his second 3-pointer of the evening. Fergal Kieran remained as Cullaville's only scorer in the opening period, with his third point, and this one coming from open play. A shot that dropped short fell into the waiting arms of Caelan McConville, and he rattled home the goal. Clevie finished the half on top with scores from McGuinness and Ronan McGuinness, a free, to see them 3-6 to 3 points ahead at half time. Tadhg O'Neill offered Cullaville a lifeline at the start of the second period as he raised the green flag. Shane McGill and Tadhg O'Neill exchanged frees, while Micheál McNamee also pointed another free. Ciaran McConville and Dara Quinn cancelled each other out before McNamee grabbed another score. O'Neill again slotted home a goal to narrow the gap to 8, but Clevie had the final say of the day, with Ciaran McConville pointing in the final minute. Also in the Senior Championship then, Clonagale secured a second straight victory to rest at the top of Group B after 2 rounds of action. Ronan McMahon's side travelled to Grahamore on Saturday afternoon and picked up a 7-point win. The visitors were the favourites heading into the game, having overcome Crossmaglen on the opening day, but Grahamore also had a win under their belts after round 1 as they beat Sarsfields away from home last week. Grahamore started the game brightly and raced into a 4-1 lead inside the first 10 minutes. Jason O'Neill slotted over a free in the first minute, which was matched at the other end by Brendan O'Hagan. Jason O'Neill added a further brace, both coming from frees, while Pete Carr got in on the scoring act for the hosts. Stephen Campbell pulled one back for Clans, but it was cancelled out at the other end by a huge effort from Padraig Doyle. 3 in a row from the visitors saw them back on level terms, with Callum O'Neill and 2 from Shane McPartin putting it over the bar. Clonagale pushed on with another 2 points before half-time through James Austin and Brendan O'Hagan to put them 7-5 ahead at the break. Sam McLaren extended the deficit after the turnaround, while Pete Carr pulled one back for Stephen Cusack's men. County men Campbell and McParland both raised white flags as Clans continued to grow their lead. O'Neill and Jack Lavery swapped scores before McParland stroked over his fourth of the day. Diarmuid Loney and McParland brought the scoring to an end in the final few minutes, with Clonagale winning by double scores in the end. Elsewhere then, Mahary caused the upset of the championship so far as they closed out a 1-point win against Clonerne. The game was level late on, but Stephen Falker stepped up to grab the winning score. The home side, who had lost to Madden in round 1, held a 2-point lead at the halfway point. Clonerne's chances were hindered late on when they lost Conor Turbot to a red card midway through the second half. Full forward Ronan Lappin opened the scoring for Mahary inside the first few minutes of the game with a pointed mark, while Rory MacDonald replied at the other end for the Division 1A League champions. Ethan McKenna and Kevin Robinson traded scores, as did Sean McCarthy and Stephen Falker. Ethan McKenna then nudged Clonerne ahead for the second time, but it was cancelled out once again by Armagh's All-Ireland winning captain Aidan Falker. Mahary then shot ahead with a superb Robinson goal from 20 yards out, but in going with the theme of the night, Clonerne fired back straight away. Conor McConville's ball into the square ended up in the back of the net, and suddenly it was level again. Mahary did grab the final 2 scores of the opening period, however, and that gave them a 2-point lead at half-time. Ben Creeley, who had been black-carded in the first half, put over a mark, while Padraig O'Keefe also sent a free over the bar to make it 1-6 to 1-4 at half-time. Substitute Barry McCambridge slotted over the first score of the second period, and that closed the gap for the visitors. Robinson grew the Mahary lead once again, however, as his second major crashed in off the post. A second 3-pointer from Rory MacDonald saw the sides level late on in the game, with a draw looking the likely outcome, but up stepped Stephen Falker to fire over his fourth point of the day, and that secured a memorable win for Mahary. On to Saturday's intermediate action now, and Tullysorn were impressive winners in round 2 as they saw off Bilic on home turf. A late flurry from the home side opened up an 8-point gap, but really that didn't reflect how close the game was. Tullysorn did lead for the entire game and were well deserving of their win, and it was Mark McKeever who was the star of the show as he finished with 1-9 on the night. McKeever opened the scoring early on and slotted over 2 frees before Drew McVerry got the visitors up and running at the other end, and his score was cancelled out by Eddie Mullen. A third from McKeever split 2 from McVerry as Blake made it a 1-point game. But Tullysorn opened up the first bit of a gap between the teams, with McKeever blasting home the game's first goal from close range. Stephen Finnegan and McKeever traded scores at the end of the first half to leave 4 points the difference. That saw Tullysorn leading 1-5 to 0-4 at the break. McKeever grew the lead again with a brace at the start of the second half, while Sean McCreesh opened his account. Mark McKeever and Gavin Conlon swapped scores before McCreesh nailed a second free. McKeever and Conlon both slotted over dead ball efforts before Bilic cut the deficit to 3 with their first goal, this time coming from James McParland. McKeever and McParland scored at each end of the field as Tullysorn finished incredibly strong. The home side sailed over the final 5 points of the evening to open up an uncatchable 8-point gap, with Conlon hitting 3 of them and Mark McKeever along with Kevin Corrigan also raising white flags in the final few minutes. Elsewhere in the intermediate championship then, Pearse Óg picked up their second victory as they travelled to Clonmore on Saturday. 2 goals split by the half-time break saw the Oaks win by 12 in the end. Both majors came through Rory Duffy, who finished the game as top scorer with a personal haul of 2-1. Oren Houlihan and Callum Hughes both chipped in with 3 points as well for the winning side. So on to the junior championship now, and Group D was all sorted on Saturday evening, and College Land booked their place in the last 8 of the junior championship with a convincing win over Lissummon. A 14-point victory in round 3 of the group sees Paul Doyle's men finished top of the table. College Land had a considerable wind blowing at their backs in the first half, and they made a count on the scoreboard. Lissummon battled back bravely in the second half, but the gap was just too big to claw back. Park McGarry got the game up and running after 6 minutes and he slotted over the game's first score, and it was the first of 5 unanswered points for the home side as they made a brilliant start. Tom Murphy, Keely McQuaid, Niall Brady and Nathan McParland also raised white flags before Lissummon got up and running with a Michael Robinson mark. It did little to halt the College Land charge, however, as they fired over a further 5 consecutive scores, 2 coming from the boot of Jason Kelly, while Michael Cullen, Keelan McQuaid and Niall Brady also scored to make it a 9-point game. Lissummon pulled one back through Matthew McGee before McParland rattled home a goal for College Land. Kelly finished off the half as they held a 1-11-0-2 lead at half-time. Pointed frees from Tom O'Hagan and 2 from Stephen O'Brien closed the gap at the start of the second half for Lissummon. College Land were then briefly reduced to 14 men for a 10-minute spell as James Kelly picked up a black card. Cathal O'Hare traded scores with Keelan McQuaid as College Land finished the stronger of the two teams, kicking the final 6 points of the evening. That sees College Land finish top of the group with Lissummon coming in at second place. Also in that group, Redmond O'Hanlon's booked their spot in the playoffs as they finished third, and that result over Clady sees Clady crash out of the championship. Clady held the upper hand at half-time in Saturday's clash, leading 8-6, but an Owen McNally goal right at the start of the second half saw O'Hanlon's push ahead. The sides traded scores early on before points from Charlie McGill and Daniel McGuinness put O'Hanlon's 5-3 up. Sean Toner and Ian Hughes tied things up while Adam McGill nudged O'Hanlon's ahead once again. But Clady had the final say of the opening period and scored 2 points to finish out the half. Joe Grimley and Kieran Savage both raised white flags and that gave them an 8-6 lead at half-time. McNally's goal then gave O'Hanlon's the upper hand and they pushed on from there with points from David Hershen and Charlie McGill. They really took control of the contest and they pushed on to win by 8 points. So that leaves Group D. College Land win the group. They go through to the quarterfinals. Second place, Lissummon, they will play a third team in a different group in the playoffs. O'Hanlon's will play a second team from a different group in the playoffs, while Clady exit the championship. Group A then and Farkhill remain at the top of Group A on score difference as they defeated Killian by 20 points on Saturday. Both sides rattled the net 3 times, but Farkhill raised much more white flags on the day. Owen O'Neill recorded the game's first goal inside the first 9 minutes, while Darren King added a second moments later. King once again rattled the net before the half-time whistle, seeing his side ahead 3-12 to 1 point at half-time. Killian grabbed 3 goals themselves in the second half, and all 3 of them came in the final quarter. So that leaves Killian out of the championship. They finished bottom of the group after their 4 games. But there's also another round to be played next week as this group had 5 teams in it. So Portmore, they will lock horns with Farkhill at the top of the table clash next weekend as they picked up their 3rd consecutive victory. They proved much too strong for their hosts Modern Seconds and the pair collided on Saturday. Cormac Kieran was in unbelievable form in front of the post and he finished with 6 goals to his name. Jude Lavery and Matthew Walsh also raised green flags while Ryan Gorman chipped in with 0-4 for Portmore. So that top of the table meeting next week with themselves and Farkhill will determine who advances straight to the quarterfinals. Second and third place is also up for grabs, and Modern and St Peters seconds lock horns next week, and the winner of that day will secure third place and head into the playoffs. So plenty to play for in those 2 junior championship games next weekend. So that's all of Saturday's action. We'll be back shortly and we'll have all the action from Sunday's championship games. So on to Sunday's action now, and Madden made it 2 from 2 in the senior championship as they picked up a comfortable home win against St Peters. With the breeze at the back, the Rapparees built up a head of steam and controlled the game after the turnaround. 2 black cards, one on the stroke of half-time and another at the start of the second period, hindered the visitors' chances. Both sides will have been frustrated by missed opportunities, but weather conditions made skill execution extremely difficult. St Peters actually opened the scoring inside the first 3 minutes of the game when Ryan Kelly split the posts. Madden replied with a goal, however, when a long ball in hopped off Kieran Rafferty, bounced off the post and landed to the feet of Jack Murphy, who eased the ball home from close range. Kieran Rafferty then fetched a mark and fired it between the uprights to give the home side a 3-point cushion. Madden built on that, and with 2 points in a row through Joe Sheridan and Owen Grimley. Now McConville pulled 2 back at the other end of the field as he swung over 2 points for St Peters, but it was all Madden for the remainder of the half, with scores from Sheridan, Niall Grimley and Conor Grimley, along with Patrick Carr, seeing them 1-7 to 0-3 ahead at the break. McConville got things up and running after the turnaround with a pointed free, but Madden hit back through Darragh McMullen, Rafferty and Niall Smith to make it a 9-point game. Cian McCavigan and Andy McAlinden kept the scores coming for St Peters, while McConville added a free, but Conor Grimley and Kieran Moore traded scores at the end of the game, with the referee sounding the final whistle. Also in the senior championship, Cully Hanna came from 6 points down to earn an unlikely draw against Silverbridge. Aidan Nugent was the hero in the end as he fired over an outstanding score from close to the sideline. It certainly wasn't Nugent's best day in front of the post, but he produced the goods when it mattered most. The All-Ireland winner claimed the final 2 points of the night as Cully Hanna earned a share of the spoils. It was all Silverbridge in the opening period as the visitors sailed into a 7-point lead after 20 minutes. Sean Conlon and Tiernan Murphy split the posts before Sean Rock claimed the game's only goal. Park Keaton and Pete Gallagher added further points before Cully Hanna finally opened their account through Jason Duffy. Ronan Reel and Shay Hoey traded scores, as did Ross McQuillan and Tiernan Murphy, to see Silverbridge ahead 1-6 to 0-3 at the half-time break. The All-Ireland Intermediate Champions rallied at the start of the second half as Shay Hoey and Tiernan Murphy exchanged scores. Jason Duffy then pointed before an excellent Keown Reevy goal reduced the margin to just 2 points. Aidan Nugent made it a 1-point game with his first score before Hoey levelled things up for the first time. A log-rage Gary Mackin score then put St Pat's men ahead on the 50-minute mark, but the Bridge weren't for surrendering, and pointed frees from Park Keaton and Tiernan Murphy put them back in the ascendancy. Pete Gallagher claimed his second of the afternoon, and that put Silverbridge 2 points up with time running out. Nugent popped over a free late on, and Cully Hanna could have stolen it when Sean O'Gorwin's goal-bound effort was blocked, but the chance to claim a draw fell to the rightful hands of Aidan Nugent, and he made no mistake in firing the ball over from an almost impossible angle. In the Intermediate Championship, Derrynoose earned their first victory of the campaign when they travelled to Alkmaar on Sunday. 2 first-half majors for the visiting side helped them collect the 2 points on offer. 4 points separated the sides at the halfway break, and Alkmaar raised 2 green flags of their own after the turnaround, but Derrynoose held opposition at arm's length, and the incredible accuracy from ace attacker Conor McNally was the main difference in the end. McNally got the game up and running, while Cian McMullen rattled home the first goal after just 3 minutes. Conor Cohen, Michael McConville and Matthew Willis all claimed scores for the home side to make it a 1-point game. Aaron Fox grabbed another for Derrynoose before Aidan Murray buried the ball to the net, while Cullen and Oisin McKeever and 2 from Oisin McKeever closed the gap before McNally split the posts with another point. Oisin McKeever then swapped scores with Mark Lennon, while Cian McMullen swung over the final score of the half, leaving Derrynoose 2-5 to 0-7 ahead. McNally added to his growing tally before Alkmaar got their first goal with a massive lifeline from Michael McNeice. Derrynoose drove ahead with 2 more from McNally, followed by their third goal from Sean Lennon. Michael McConville and McNally cancelled each other out at either end, while another score from McNally split 2 from Oisin McKeever. Matthew McNeice then rattled the net for the hosts, but McNally swung over the final point to settle the game in Derrynoose's favour. In Group B then, Wolf Tones picked up a hard-earned 2-point win away to Grange. The home side led by 4 at half-time with a Ben Toll goal, putting them 1-4 to 0-3 ahead. But the Tones battled back in the second half to collect their second victory of the group stages, with Keelan Skelton grabbing the all-important major to see them win 110 to 1-8. Caircroppen were 3-point winners away to Clonard Seconds on Sunday evening as they picked up a 113-27 victory. Cathal O'Grady grabbed the all-important Cruppen goal, while Rogan McVeigh and Sean Corey were the goal scorers for the home side. In the Junior Championship then, in Group C, Ballyhagan made it through to the last 8 of the campaign as they earned a 4-13-24 win over Rogue. James McCormick top scored for the winners with 2-4, while Michael and James McCann both hit the net as well. For Rogue, Keown McCrory and Kevin Breen raised their green flags. Elsewhere in that group, Thomas Davis had a convincing 0-12-1 home win against Mullabrack. So just to finish up the show, we're going to quickly run through each group and how it stands at the minute. So back to the Senior Championship Group A, Cullyhanna lead the way at the minute. They're on 3 points. Silverbridge are also on 3 points. Cullyhanna just have the upper hand on score difference. In third place is Clevey, and at the bottom of Group A is Cullaville on 0 points. Group B then, Clondegale, with 2 wins from 2, sees them at the top, while Greenmore are second place with 2 points. Crossmaglen and Sarsfields obviously didn't play this week, so that game is taking place next Sunday, with the final round of Group B's games taking place the following weekend. So still lots to play for in that group. Group C then, Modern are top of the group, having won both their games against Mahary and St Peters. Mahary are in second place then, just ahead of Clonard on head-to-head following that victory on Saturday evening, with St Peters at the bottom with 0 points. In Group D of the Senior Championship, Armagh Harps have won 2 from 2, so they're at the top with Ballymacnab in second place on 2 points. Drummondtee and Mullabawn have yet to play. Their game from Friday was cancelled due to a bereavement in the Drummondtee club, so they're playing on Monday night. So that league table will be updated ASAP on Monday night. In the Intermediate Championship then, Group A, St Paul's lead the way, having won both games. They're on 4 points, with Whitecross just ahead of Shane O'Neill's on head-to-head, and both of them are on 2 points, while Tiernan Ogre at the bottom with 0. Group B, Wolf Tones have won both their games, so they're at the top on 4, while the Grange are in second place on 2. Katie and Cross Seconds were meant to play this weekend as well, but that was called off, so that'll be refixed. I think it's for Wednesday night. So that league table will need updated after that game as well. Group C then, Pearshog lead the way with 2 wins from 2 on 4 points. Derrynoosa are in second on 2 points ahead of Monagmore on head-to-head difference, who are also on 2 points, while Clonmore are at the bottom on 0 points. In Group D, Tullysarn are top on 4 points. Caircroppen are just below that on 3 points, and those two teams play off next week. Blake are in third place on 1, while Clonard Seconds are at the bottom on 0. The Junior Championship then, Group A, Forkhill are at the top of the group with 6 points on score difference, because Portmore are also on 6 points. St Peters Seconds are in third position there on 2 points, while Madden Seconds are also on 2 points, but just trail St Peters by score difference, with Killian finishing bottom of that group with 0 points. Group B, St Michael's are through to the quarterfinals. They top the group with 6 points. Middletown finished second on 4 points, with Clevey Seconds in third position on 2 points, while Darcy drop out of the championship, finishing bottom with no points. Group C, Ballyhagan are through to the last 8 on 6 points. Uro claimed second place with 4 points, and Thomas Davis picked up 2 points to finish third, while Mullabrack crash out of the championship. On Group D, finally, College Land topped the group with 6 points. The Summon are in second place with 3 points. Redmond O'Hanlon's finished third, also on 3 points, while Clady finished bottom of the division and crash out of the championship. So that's our full roundup of this week's championship action. We'll be back, of course, on Thursday, and there's so many exciting games to look forward to. All 3 championships just seem to be wide open at the minute, so it's exciting times in the Armagh club scene. And make sure to follow us on all our social media pages. We'll be updating all aspects of the championships over the next few weeks, with our usual team of the week, top scorers, interviews, previews, match reports, podcasts, and everything else. So make sure to follow us, and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube and our Spotify channels if that's where you get your podcast. So we'll be back on Thursday with a special guest, and we'll look forward to next week's show. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Garland's through, he might go for it, still going, trying to barge his way through, goes to the shot, what a goal!
Arriving Rian O'Neill from an almost impossible angle, and that's the rousing scorer now we're looking for.
Conor Turbitt kicks this one in on it, absolutely superb.